Suppression can cause depression. Suppression can cause depression. In what ways? According to vocabulary.com, suppression is the act of keeping something from happening. Okay, now that it is defined, what are other words that are similar to suppression that we may use in our daily interactions? Hushing up, halting, stopping, covering up, muzzling, and being restricted. When I venture into my mental Rolodex, I can remember some specific moments in time that I knowingly went into suppression mode. Yet there are some other times I did not realize that I was operating in suppression until the overwhelming feelings of depression and anger had already pulled up seats at the table and joined me in my feast of negativity. Even to this day, there are stories that my sisters will tell that will bring some of the familiar memories to my frontal lobe, and I can join in with the conversation. Then there are other times in which I listen so that I can place them back into my important section of the Rolodex. In my younger years, I suppressed my emotions due to being called a crybaby. I suppressed singing because I would sing the words I knew and then mumbled the rest because I was trying to learn the song. But my learning style annoyed my sisters. I really suppressed the emotions and thoughts of the loss of several of my loved ones because I didn't know how to talk about it. I wasn't asked about how I thought or felt about the loss of those important people, so I went on with what I thought was normal and suppressed like I had did so many other times in my life. What does suppression get you? I don't know what it gets you, but I do know it got me angry a lot. I was frustrated at not expressing myself for fear of rejection and talking back to authority. It made me bitter when hanging around others who freely expressed themselves, and I felt like I had to keep it bottled up inside and take whatever was given to me. It made me want to be alone. I didn't want new friends, and at times I would find myself distant from those that I considered my friends. When I did stop suppressing, sorry, when did I stop suppressing my thoughts? Believe it or not, I would give little outbursts of expressing myself, and they usually were not very good ones. My snap responses to what was said to me was used as a defense mechanism. A lot of my suppression stopped when I started writing and posting publicly on social media, a platform in which I cannot control how people will respond. Open to public scrutiny, I still suppress my thoughts from time to time. Most often, when I do it now, it is to take that moment to pause, to gather my thoughts, determine if it is something that should be addressed with the person or people, or is it something that I need to work through in my writing or other healthy activities. What I have found is that if I am suppressing thoughts these days, it is due to me being more mindful of who I want to be, how I want to interact with others, and knowing I don't have to address things in that moment. As some of the similar words denote, hushing up, halting, and being restricted, even while writing about suppression, hushing up, halting, and being restricted brought up feelings and emotions that almost prompted an abrupt ending to the subject matter. The reality of operating in environments and mindsets of suppression of how you feel or hushing up, as many of us have been in for several years for various reasons. Halting, being stopped in your tracks in the pursuit of something you knew was worth pursuing. Being restricted, falling prey to the limitations that you put on yourself and some that others place in your path. The most depressing part of suppression to me was the inward self doubt that was being watered every time there was a moment to express or explain, only to be met with suppressive rhetoric that makes the internal computer says does not compute, and it forces itself into hibernation to not deal with what just occurred, thus feeding the depression seeds of suppression. There will be moments in life in which you can use suppression, hushing up, and halting to your advantage. These are moments in which talking or reacting in that moment could cost you your life. Moments in which you have not received all of the facts of both sides of the story before you provide an opinion. Understanding that just because it is suppressed in that moment in time does not mean that you will not be able to express yourself when the time is better for you. Suppression is a catalyst of picking your battles. When you are in the heat of a certain moment, the suppression switch can be turned on so that listening and understanding can occur. Allowing time to ponder before knee-jerk reactions. I am no expert of being free from suppression. What I am is someone who works hard at not suppressing things for too long. This took years for me to get what works for me. I am still working through the process, as it is easy to go back to what was comfortable, even when you know it is not good for you. Like eating certain things that have confirmed several times over that you should steer clear, but you try it one more time in hopes of it being different this time around. Perhaps suppression is not leading to depression for you. That is great. But if you too struggle with suppression, try journaling or recording yourself. It can be kept private. The goal is to release it in healthy ways so that it does not become something worse. Will you review the things you may be suppressing, knowingly and unknowingly? Jamie, how will I know the ones that are unknown? In my experience, on my journey, they will reveal themselves as you go through the ones you do know about. The self-work begins with you and how you deal with suppression moments and the aftermath. You owe it to yourself to peel back the layers, to expose the roots of suppression, and help yourself minimize the moments or thoughts of suppression going forward.